Thank you very much for the invitation to this very interesting and very inspiring discussion. I'm very happy to be here. Actually, I'm following the development of a platform, first somewhat informally, but now more formally, I would say. At least I was in the last discussion in Vienna last year also, and also I had the privilege to be here in Helsinki for the Bioeconomy Presidency Conference this year in July. So I'm very happy to be here. And also maybe I should say that in my previous capacity of project officer of Commission, I was also following some projects that were coordinated from this campus. So I'm very happy to be here again and see how it indeed is developing, and it's very impressive. So it's again a pleasure. I also would like to thank for invitation from the point of my director, John Bell, who of course could not be here today, but indeed, as we heard, it is a very busy period in Brussels, and we look forward to the appointment of new commission as we speak almost now, so in some minutes probably. Without further ado, I will start with presenting some of policy backgrounds that we need to take into account when we develop next activities for Horizon Europe, especially, and new partnerships, and in broad terms, sustainable future. I think this would be the term. So we heard today already about the European Green Deal as a policy priority of new Commission that will be coming very soon in place. The promise to deliver this policy within 100 days probably, as we already heard, will be much quicker than this, in maybe not months, but weeks rather. Stay tuned to this development. But we should not forget that we have also some existing policy strategies that are very much guiding the developments of these newer strategies, such as bioeconomy strategy that was updated last year. And it fits very much into the development of new policies such as Green Deal. This, just to remind you, you probably know this very well, but the objective of a new bioeconomy strategy was really to combine three main strands of this policy. That is, on one hand, development of new investments and new bio-based products and materials and markets, and then spread bioeconomy across all of Europe in a sustainable way, and then so regional approach, and very much looking on the rural development, and also taking into account the very important role of education and of skill development. So this is again very important that we are here in the university setting, because this is indeed very crucial. And finally, taking account of environmental considerations and challenges that are very important also. So the ecological limits and planetary boundaries. And this fits into other policy priorities, such as, well, obviously we heard also about all of this today, job creation, development of industrial policy, industrial base, circular economy, healthy ecosystems, and biodiversity, importantly. So bioeconomy has, since last year, since the development of an updated strategy, featured in a number of other policies of a Commission. Just to mention the one called Clean Planet for All, in which bioeconomy has been recognized as having a crucial role as in the carbon neutral future, so carbon sinks and sustainable food systems, and also the other one on sustainable Europe for 2030 with the same recognition, and also other international policy developments such as International Panel on Climate Change and the Biodiversity Panel, and finally the Green Deal of a new Commission. Now, going to the forest, probably I don't need to spend too much time on this, since you are very well placed and understand the importance of forests. And I would say that that's really, this is very much in line with the overall objectives of bioeconomy strategy. So to make possible all the opportunities that exist in this field across Europe, make them resilient and make them adapted to new challenges such as climate change, and at the same time take into account the limitations in terms of sustainability of these ecosystems. And I think we have heard about this already, so I'm very happy to see that this discussion takes into account all of these aspects. And this ambition will drive future policies and also specific actions that come from both bioeconomy strategy and also programs such as Horizon Europe. But before going to Horizon Europe program, maybe just to say just one slide on, or a few words about the existing opportunities that exist still in the current program, Horizon 2020, which is still running and operational. And in this program, we have currently a couple of open calls that are still open for submissions, so please don't hesitate to use all of these opportunities that exist at the moment. And also just to say that the BBI joint undertaking, so the bio-based industries joint undertaking, will also have one call next year, which is now being prepared. So this will be also an opportunity coming in the spring next year to also be involved in this process. Just to say, without going into details, what happens in the forest sector in Horizon 2020, there are a number of topics that are directly related to forests. Some of them may have been already closed, but these are the topics for 2019-2020 in 3 of these 4 calls. So all calls apart from the oceans and seas calls, so all dealing with land-based ecosystems and environments, and these are different opportunities that are present. Just to give some examples of these projects that are supported by Horizon 2020. This is a project that I think we will hear a little bit more, or maybe much more, in the afternoon session of today's conference, because I think the coordinator of this project is here with us. So, about the construction of wood, and also some newer projects that are now starting, coming from the last call that gave rise to projects. So just to show these 2 specific projects. Now, moving to Horizon Europe. So indeed, we are at the very intensive process of preparation of this program, even though there are still some important decisions to be made when it comes to budget, especially, and in the framework overall budget of the European Union. But a good thing is that the agreement between key policy actors on the EU level, that is the Council and the European Parliament, has been reached in a very quick time. So this spring there was a so-called common understanding on the proposal from the Commission on the structure of this program, and also on the ambition to make the program more focused and more on looking on the impacts when it comes to the priorities of citizens. So, so the proposal from the Commission was the 100 billion euro for Horizon Europe, and well, we are now in the process of seeing whether this will be met with council decision, of course. So this is a process that is ongoing. Just to show the structure, so I'm sure you have seen this structure of Horizon Europe, to say that the bioeconomy is to be found in this cluster number 6, food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture and environment, so a long title, but it is part of a pillar 2, global challenges. So this is the cluster 6, which has 7 sub areas. So from environmental observation to bio-based systems. And just to say that when it comes to forest topics or forest mentions, let's say, in these areas, because we know already the content of these areas. This has been published, and actually there were even 2 separate processes of public consultation on this. So I hope you had a chance to also participate in this process of consultation. So forest is mentioned in 4 of these, or actually five of these areas. Well, especially in the one called agriculture, forestry, and food and rural areas, not surprisingly, but also others. So again, all apart from food and oceans. So a number of times they are mentioned, and also in the mission on soil health and food, forests are also mentioned. So I will not go into what are the missions, and because this is it's a separate topic, but there are a couple of these missions identified, and forests are mentioned as well. So just to come to the last part of my presentation, which is about an important discussion that is taking place now about the future of partnerships in Horizon Europe. This is coming from the observation that the partnership landscape should be simplified and should be made more streamlined and more logical. So the number of partnership will be reduced. And I will not discuss these different types of partnerships, but basically there are 3 types that are under discussion: co-programmed, co-funded, and institutional. Institutional, just to say that the current BBI program is an example of this institutionalized partnership. And indeed, this is the one area which has been identified as likely to have a successor in the common understanding called Sustainable, Inclusive, and Circular Bio-Based Solutions. And this is now being developed. So we have a discussion with a number of stakeholders, importantly also with Bioindustries Consortium and with other stakeholders on the definitions of this potential partnership on circular bio-based Europe, as it is now called, so CBE, as a follow-up of BBI. Indeed, now there is an impact assessment ongoing, so this is a process in which a contractor is supporting the Commission to analyze the pros and cons for different types of partnership with involvement of all stakeholders. They are having interviews with them, only a few weeks ago this step has happened, and now the Commission will be developing an impact assessment early next year on these institutional partnerships. So the next steps in this process depend very much on the budget discussion, depend also on the commitments of all partners, and then if a decision is taken to go to the institutional partnership, this will require preparing basic acts, that is the decisions of Council, that means regulations on the partnerships. And finally, they will be launched in early 2021. So there are still some issues that I will not go into that much into detail, but for instance, the place of biotechnology in this process, where should it be covered, what is the role of higher or lower technology levels, synergies with other programs, and so on. So this discussion will still take place next year. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.